Look how the stars turn on. Look how the stars turn on. When I hold you close. When I hold you close. When I hold you close. The stars turn on.
Hello and welcome to Season 4, Episode 9 of The Press Box, in association with the unit. There might be new faces on the sideline, but it was another case of blankety blank for Dundalk this weekend, as a scoreless draw with Pats on Friday night was followed up by a 1-0 defeat away to Bohs on Monday night. In tonight's show, we're going to look back on that double header of fixtures and ahead to this Friday's trip to Sligo Rovers at the Showgrounds, where we'll be hoping it's lucky number 11 in the pursuit of our first win. And also, we will run by any potential managerial people involved. Maybe, hopefully, Jim can enlighten us more on that. But Jimmy, the two performances, again, having watched back the highlights, a lot more crosses, maybe a bit more eagerness and stuff, but kind of just maybe not, again, the strike force and the lads to kind of put chances away. And again, 2 games and 0 goals.
Yeah, look, that's just a concern. I don't know, I did see minor bits of improvement, don't get me wrong. We're certainly a little bit more sturdy at the back than we were a few weeks ago. I think the likes of, say, Zach Bradshaw has kind of made that left back slot his own, I would think. I thought he was very good over both games. We had a really good spell at the start of the second half against Pats. I thought maybe the substitutes maybe disrupted it a little bit, where they sort of didn't work for us. Maybe that was just coincidence or whatever, but Pats sort of got into it. The concern of that game was, I suppose, that, yeah, it was 0-0 and yeah, it was decent, but the big chances probably went their way. Like Mason Mealy had maybe one in either half. I think Conor Keeley had a header he probably should have buried. But ordinarily, point at home to a team who at the start of play were third.
Yeah,
it's not a bad result in the grand scheme of things. It's just that the longer the sort of drought and the winless run goes on, I suppose minor, like anything that's not a win is going to be sort of a negative. And again, you go to Bohs Monday night, and granted we had the wind in our favour in the first half, but a lot of good stuff. But ultimately, you talk, we played like 290 minutes, of which was a lot longer, because I forget what was added in the Pats game, but there was 99 anyway played in the Bohs game, and one shot on target in both matches, which was a long ranger from Robbie Benson that Danny Rogers pushed clear. Sharashka didn't have a fit save to make against Bohs, and as much as there was good moments, ultimately, if you don't get shots on target, you're probably not winning football matches, and that's just a concern. And I don't know whether it's a little bit of confidence or what, because there was a point even on Monday night where Robbie Benson was bearing down on goal, and it was nicely on his stronger left foot, and you're just sort of saying, pull the trigger, test this guy, and he opted not, and it was a bit of a the move more or less broke down then. And it's probably just having that confidence to beat players, to try things, to pull off that long range shot. And yeah, there was better moments. I thought Robbie Bahan in particular against Bohs was very lively, and had a few decent balls into the box, and Jamie Gullen probably showed more of what he's about in terms of attacking them. Obviously didn't get the finish on them or anything, but there was glimpses of definite improvement, and I think the Bohs game was probably the hardest to take, because previous defeats, like you go back to Galway or Sligo, etc., you probably can't say you deserved anything but a loss in those games. But I didn't think we deserved to lose the Bohs game. And
sadly with them now, if we're not putting chances away or creating chances. Like, did we have a shot on target against Bows?
No.
No. So
And
like,
it's become too common. And look, it was a problem last season as well at points. Like, even I made the point that Owen O'Shea was the referee on Monday night, and the last time he refereed us was the Shells game in Talc at the end of last season, where we also didn't have a shot on target. So it's I remember going to Cork last year. We lost up there in the Maybank Holiday weekend, and I definitely remember no shot on target in that game and stuff. So it's not a new problem, but it's become, because there was good moments in both matches, and it's just that clinical edge. Now, to be fair, I spoke to Brian Gartland after the game, and he said, look, this week is just purely sort of crosses, finishing, stuff like that, because that's effectively, they have, you go back to, and ironically, because we're playing them this weekend, you go back to that sort of Sligo performance, and we looked like we were going to be cut open every time someone came at us, whereas that sort of got better. We have sort of addressed that, but when you're not putting the ball in at the other end, it's sort of like you're always going to be on a hiding to nothing, and at best probably hoping for a 0-0. So look, somewhere along the way they have to find something, and I think the example is what Bows did. Like, Bows weren't any great shakes themselves on Monday night, but they got a set piece. Dale Rooney delivered it, who only came on at half time, and I was on co-commentary with Adrian Taff, and I said that's exactly why they're putting him in, because Dundalk had I think we'd 7 corners in the first half. We had a couple of free kicks, and we're just not, when a team's not playing their best, or even like when you see things like cup matches where there's a minnow slays a beast or something, it's usually a set piece that you get a bit of joy from, and we're just not capitalizing on them at all. And
their bench was better though as well, so they were able to kind of unload the cavalry and stuff. And I thought,
yeah, look, their subs made an impact. Like, Declan McDaid definitely got them livelier, forced a couple of saves. Obviously, Akintunde got the goal. But it was just a
Rooney
good
assist,
delivery.
I think, well, and like,
yeah, that's what I mean. It was Rooney's ball, so I said that's exactly why they put him on, and it was just one. Like, Rooney wasn't the chance after that. To be fair, when maybe Dundalk were throwing the kitchen saying get it, but I didn't think he was in it a lot. And yes, that one good delivery. See, we haven't had that, and they sort of played it nicely. In that, like, Akintunde, from what I can see, and I've looked back at it a few times today, he was virtually unmarked, because it's very hard to see it on the camera angle, but Zach Bradshaw actually looks like he's behind him, but Paddy Kirk's actually in front of Bradshaw, in between him and Akintunde, and he just created that almost block, and a few the Dundalk players maybe got caught the wrong side of it. And look, you're always disappointed when you can see the set piece goal, particularly when you're being coached by 2 centre halves who that was their sort of bread and butter to head those things away. But
I can only reference is for the goal. I thought I would definitely be wanting my keeper to be more confident and be coming for something like that and controlling that. And I suppose to go back to that now, for the last 2 games, obviously new management group, they've obviously decided to put Shelby back in. I don't know if that was a case of whether it was Brian or whoever said, listen, this was my man. I signed him and I believe in him, and maybe he wanted to give him a shout. It's tough to build that like partnerships with the guys at the back and the keeper if things are changing like that. So again, maybe it's a bit harsh on him, but I think maybe a keeper with a bit more confidence or partnership relationships with guys and communication is coming for that. And I think that's no goal if we maybe a bit more confident in keeper and goal. And maybe I'm being harsh on him, but I thought one of the things, of course, maybe Brian has to put a bit of his own stint on the things, but I did find it weird to see Shelby coming straight back in when Monroe's actually been playing for the last however long, like, and hasn't done anything horrendously wrong comparison to anyone else, really. Like,
yeah, look, it was a surprise going back to Friday to see Shelby in the team sheet. I didn't think Monroe had done a lot wrong. You're right. I think he'd only conceded 4 before that Derry game. Obviously, that doubled in Derry, but I wouldn't particularly fault him for any of the goals. I think the reason Shelby was brought in was for distribution, where they were trying to. I think it was Archie Davies obviously started on the right wing on Friday night, and they were probably more targeting Robbie Mahan in Daleyman Park, where they were trying to hit that sort of angle ball and use the pace of those players to get in behind. And there was at least a bit of tactical thought there. Did it work? Difficult to say. Like, there was one in particular in the first half, brilliant ball by Shelby that released Mahan, and ultimately, look, we it didn't lead to a goal, but you could see the method and the madness sort of thing. So for me, he's just in it for that reason. You're probably right. It's one of those. It's a little harsh and equally probably a little bit true as well. Where, could he have come out and bailed the team out there? Maybe, but look, if he comes out and flaps it or something, then you're hammering him again. So, and look, he's human too. It's early stages. These are the sort of the first few senior matches he's played in his career. I know he had a brief stint on loan elsewhere, but like, it's new to him too, and that pressure that comes with it, where you're being judged.
But Jesus, we're in the deep shit now. Like, this isn't time to
Yeah,
be
look, but
wheeling lads in. But I also think, like, from a complete keeper's point of view, or from a centre back or a manager looking at that, like, if my keeper comes and he punches and flaps or something, and it messes up, yeah, you are hammering him, but you're still going, right, well, he had the balls or the confidence come. A keeper just stood in his line. Shay Given was a very good, like, line keeper. Like, he wouldn't come off his line for things and stuff. So, and he was probably world class at that. But a lot of, like, the physical movements of it and stuff, you can't save things. You can't move when you're stood in your line and stuff. So I thought that was poor from him. And listen, again, I can't judge or say anything about anything performance. But I just thought that was a simpler, be bold, be brave, come for it. And, like, yeah, if you missed it, well, they fucking scored anyway. So, like,
yeah. Look, we're just getting punished for every little thing at the moment. Like, even the free kick that led to that, it was such a lazy challenge by Louis Anstey. I thought it was so needless. It was so laboured. Like, it looked like the guy was knackered. He'd only come on at half time. He hadn't played the previous Friday. Like, it was just, just doing silly things that you didn't need to do. Because, to be fair, Bowes, I think, did about 4 shots in the space of about 60 seconds, around about the 65th minute. But aside from that, and we'd sort of weathered that storm, they weren't cutting us open or anything. And it was, and listen, as much as we are where we are, we're bottom of the league, etc. I've seen everyone now. Like, I've seen every team in the flesh against Dundalk, and no one has set the world alight. Like, ironically,
I agree.
And probably more to do with our frailties than their brilliance, and I'll take nothing away from them on the night. But, like, Sligo, the best team I've seen in terms of, like, just, they did put us to the sword that night. But, like, I've seen, like, Pats twice now, Bows who have gone up to second, and the cat. I'm trying to, like, be positive here too. Like, and it look, I'm a realist. Like, I don't know where goals are coming from for us, but it's also not like we're just millions miles off it either, because, like, there's no one ripping up the league. For me, even they're not top, but Rovers will probably win it or something. But, like, they're not outstanding so far, and, like, granted, they're missing a few, etc. But there's no one, I would say, that is a streets ahead of anyone else. On their night, everyone can sort of beat everyone, and look, the weekend gone just proved that. Where, look, Shells were motoring lovely, and, like, who saw Bows going to Talca and maybe getting 3 points? But again, we played Shells not that long ago, and it wasn't like they were vastly superior than us either. It was a 2-1 defeat, and okay, our goal came very, very late on, but we had a penalty shout in that game too, and maybe you get that bit of luck, and maybe it's 2-2, and okay, it would have been a complete robbery, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you need that. Like, there was a point in the Bows game in the first half where I think Robbie Mahan came over to the right-hand side and he put a ball in, and Abubakar Keita nearly put it in his own net with a clearance. And sometimes you just need that bit of luck where someone shanks one into their own goal, and maybe you win 1-0, and that, like, I made the point Monday gone was the 5-year anniversary of the night we beat Bows in Oriel with a 94th minute Patrick Hooban penalty that sort of kicked off that amazing run that ultimately led to us winning the league with 4 games to go against Rovers in Oriel at the end of September. And not that I expect us to do that, but like, Christ, if you remember back to then, like I don't want to keep bringing it up, but just because you did on the Twitter last week, but like Johnny Ward had written it off that like Rovers were champions in waiting, and there was speculation, in a post Stephen Kenny era where, had the Dundalk made a mistake giving the job to Vinnie Perth, and listen, we'll never really know how close that regime was to maybe losing their job around that time, but certainly there was murmurings of it. And listen, we won the league at a canter in the end. Again, I'm not saying we'll do that sort of run this time, but maybe just that first win just gives you that bit of a lift to say, do you know what, right, we're up and running now. And it's a bit like the even the crossbar challenge at the weekend. Like, it was 3 years of no one hitting the bar, and then 2 within like about less than a minute of each other. Like,
I agree with your point on the luck, and we need that, but we are miles off that 2019 team. And I think,
no, and I'm not comparing us, but what I might say, it just gives you, like, if you can even start getting, listen, our away record was never great to begin with anyway. It's we've always struggled for, like, I think Stephen O'Donnell's time in charge, we played 40 away league games, we scored 39 goals, so we have always struggled for goals away from home. 5 of those came against UCD on the final game of last season, which was probably a bit of a rubber duck. So we've always struggled to score on the road. But if you can, to be fair, and it's probably overlooked given the run, but 3-0 draws at home, it's at least sort of become a hard place to go again, or not necessarily an easy place to go. And if you can start maybe turning those draws at homes into wins, and maybe take a point or 2 on the road, you have to start somewhere. Listen, I'm not trying to win leagues here. I'm not trying to qualify for Europe, but just to begin clawing back that deficit towards 8th, 9th, whatever, that, it's still not out of sight in terms of, we win, draw to lose on any given weekend. We're right within touching distance of them again.
we're also 4 points off them with them with a game in hand. So, like,
yeah, no, and look, yeah, and that's, look, that is a concern. And look, maybe it's a game to go in, but like, their game in hand is against Shamrock Rovers for what it's worth. So, like, I'd rather points on the board. Listen, we can't worry about them to an extent. They've shown a pluckiness that we could only dream of. In terms of, like, they've got a few, albeit draws, but some very good results recently. And we just need to sort of get to a point where we're showing that. And look, again, there's players in that team capable of chipping in with goals outside of the strikers. Like, is Daryl Horgan good for half a dozen goals? Is Robbie Benson good for half a dozen goals? Is even one of the centre backs?
Are they?
Well, they've shown the ability to do it in the past, but it just needs to all come together. And little things like, listen, I respect the fact that Brian was, man enough to admit it's just, look, we're going to work on our crosses, our set pieces this week, because ultimately, listen, we could go out against Real Madrid tomorrow, but a set piece routine, if you put the right ball in and attack it in the right way, it's probably your best chance of scoring against them. So, like, get that right. That was a fundamental of, like, when you, and I don't want to keep harping back to the past, but you think back to when Dundalk were building something, the set piece goals were huge, and they remained huge. But like, at the beginning, when you, like, Patrick Hoban obviously scored a lot of goals for Dundalk, but he didn't come in as this amazing strike. Like, it took him 10 league games to get his first goal. We had Vinnie Flaherty up front in year 1, who I think scored 1 goal for the club. And no disrespect to Vinnie but what I mean is the goals had to come from other places. And that's what we sort of need to get to, where, look, you obviously want your strikers chipping in, but to be fair to them, like, they're not getting great service at the minute. So it just needs to all come together. And easier said than done. But you go to, I was saying to, and again, easier, like last night, or on Monday night in going up to Dalymount, there wasn't a lot in that game. That was definitely a fixture that probably could have went either way. Like, and had you won that, you're probably going up to Sligo, who are coming on the back at sort of 2-3-0 defeats themselves, and saying, we'll give these a game. There's an element of you'll want a bit of revenge for that 5-0. It is a ground. I think the Dundalk and Shells were the only two teams who won twice in the Showgrounds last year. So you've had a good recent record up there. And then had you beaten Bows, I know we didn't, but they're the next visitors to Oriel. But even having lost that game on Monday night, I don't think we'd be overawed by them in any way. Like, it wasn't like they beat us into submission, or that we were lucky or fortunate to get out with a 1-0 defeat. Far from it. So, like, a lot of it is confidence. And yes, look, I'm a realist too. Is the quality
I think
of
you're
player
sucking the
there?
Kool-Aid here, boy. Like, I think
No,
there still
but
has to be a realist element to it.
yeah,
Yes, we could get
and
a
I
bit of
am,
luck and score,
but
but like,
but
we've had
confidence
one
has to
shot on
be.
target in the last 2 games. Like,
Yeah, but a bit of that is about having the confidence to take things on, like try and beat a player, try and have an effort. Like, because, like, I always compare it to, if I went out now and I'm, say you're coaching an under 10 side, and someone puts me the ball, I'll dribble around them, because I'll have the confidence to, they'll probably take it off me as well, but you know what I mean? I'll have that confidence that, look, I can take around these lads. And then maybe if you put me up against, an Irish international or something, I probably won't have the same confidence, because, geez, this lad's good. But a lot of it is upstairs and having that, I'm going to have a shot here. I'm going to put one in the top corner. I'm going to, yeah. And it is that split second hesitation or whatever that you need to do the right thing with. And look, I'm well aware we're struggling. I'm well aware that the chances haven't been coming, but we, for hell or high water, are with this group of players now till July, and we have to sort of work with what we've got. And again, I call it sucking the Kool-Aid or whatever, but again, I reiterate, I've seen everyone, and it's not like there's anything vastly superior than us. Yeah, we had a few horrendous nights where we just didn't show up, but you go back to last night, and Bows, who've had a chaotic start themselves, to be fair, change of manager, hadn't won back-to-back so far until last night, so they were a bit of a topsy-turvy team, but they're joint second. They're within, though, is it 5 points they're off Shells now, who, like, we're getting all sorts, and deservedly so, all sorts of plaudits. But even Shells, who, if the league stopped tomorrow, Shells have been the best side so far. But even they haven't been amazing or anything. Like, they've been functional, or they've got the job done or whatever. But they've got a tune out of, as we said last week, probably. I don't mean this as disrespectful way, but like average players, and I mean that from the perspective of probably lads who weren't wanted elsewhere, but they're getting that extra 10%, 20%, 15%, whatever it is, and we're not. And somewhere along the way, we can only hope that that can be extracted. Because, look, the worry you have, and maybe it's unfair on the likes of loanees, but the loanees care, like, in terms of whether the Dundalk go up or go down, there's lads in that dressing room who probably won't be there come the end.
well, again, that's your recruitment issue. You're dead right, by the way.
It is, but what I mean, like, you want it hurting, you want it ruining the bloody weekend for them, and maybe not sleeping because it's ruined a lot of fans' weekends and everything. So, and I've no doubt there's lads in there that it is really hurting, but it needs to be everyone. And when you bring in as many, and look, you could go back to recruitment and the reasons for all the ins and outs, but when you bring 11 new players in, gelling that together is difficult, and having a fight and being in it, wholeheartedly, because, some of these guys are only here very short term, and ultimately, will they ever think of Dundalk again when they leave? And that might be harsh on them, because I don't want to paint everyone with the same brush. I know there's definitely loanies in there who do care. I've seen it, seen the reaction, and it's not a fake reaction. But we need to, get to a point where there's a bit more unity there, a bit more belief. How that comes around, look, it's not easy, but like, I did think, for what it's worth, this weekend was a start. I go back to Friday night. Yeah, look, we're still struggling for chances, but ordinarily a point against Pats isn't a bad result. And again, Monday night, Bows, there's not a lot in it. It's a poor goal we give up. It was probably not what we deserved on the whole. I've seen plenty of Bows fans have said, probably a draw would have been a fair result. You don't always get what you deserve in football, but equally, maybe Sligo batter us the weekend for 90 minutes and we score a goal on the break or something, and we get the luck the other way. We haven't got anything so far in terms of, like, I don't even think we've had a penalty shot or anything that you could say, oh, that should have been given, or maybe the O'Kane one in Talca. But the rub of the green, and I know you just can't rely on that, but
No.
we can only hope, and it is a hope, and it is, maybe I am absolutely clutching at straws, but we can only hope that if you get it, that it just ignites something, because you can't give up on it. You can't. Otherwise, like, what? You're just going to lie down and die? No, you have to continually believe that the players are there and the ability is there, and like, there's still, I don't, like, again, I don't want to always be picking on new signs, but there's lads in that dressing room who've won multiple league titles. Like, they're okay. You could argue maybe their better days are behind them in terms of their years and where they're at in their careers and mileage on the clock and all that, but you don't become an appalling player overnight either. And you don't lose that pride, and so it just needs to come to the forefront. And I do think, and I don't, because I don't want to come on here and bash them every week. I do think it was a lot better on Monday. I do think there was a minor improvement on Friday. Yes, it's small. Yes, it needs to be more. But look, equally, last week, I can only imagine it was a tough week. There was a lot of disruption. Monday was obviously a day of meetings with, managerial or removals, etc. People coming in as interns, and they've a full, well, I say full week now. Obviously Monday there was a game. Today was probably a bit of a rest day to recover and stuff like that. But over the next few days, just focus on that Sligo game, and then you have a full week to prepare for the Bows game, where you can do those things. And I'm almost glad to hear that, listen, all we're going to be working on is basically crossing and finishing and that, because that is our issue at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, possession wise, we're not doing bad. You'd like to see it in more progressive areas, admittedly, but it's the other stuff. It's the XG, it's the touches in the box, shots at goal. We're bottom of the league and all that, and maybe you try something different. Maybe it's not for the purists or whatever, but you have to try, because look, if you look at it, like 5 league games in a row without a goal at home, that's a club record, an unwanted one. The worst start in the club's history in terms of points on the board. Even like this stage last year, match day 10, which we've just completed, on match day 10 last year, UCD beat Cork City to leave themselves on 5 points. So, like, UCD at this stage last year had more points after the same
That's
number
what I
of
mean.
games
I
as the dog
can't
this year.
actually listen now anymore. Listen, I hope we do something at Sligo, but we're
we're
just going to have
better
to
than
move
that
on.
UCD team, is what I'm saying. We're better than that UCD team.
Yeah, you think. I don't. When I say that, I know you might laugh and think, but, like, I'm sorry, points are on the
I see
board.
where you're coming from. I see where
Having
you're
zero
coming
shots
from.
on target. The tables don't lie. It's now officially, there's a 25% in, so we've played everybody. I'm not like, listen, are we better than that? You've seen potential, yes, but the table doesn't lie, so I can't listen. With Sligo next or something, I should say. I hope we get up there. Anyway, moving on. Sean Fogarty, the keeper coach, has left. Do you know anything about that, or is that just a uh, what you call it, a mutual agreement he was already gone, or do you know what happened? Because I just obviously this is Tuesday night, so we obviously just would have seen this on the likes of Twitter or something tonight.
As far as I'm aware, he was made an offer from another League of Ireland club and would be going there.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And it may have been the club we played on Monday night.
You'd love to hear it.
And that's fine. Listen, again, I've never spoken to
business,
Sean,
yeah.
only at the club a short time, but like if I'm offered a job elsewhere, and maybe I know nothing about it, but maybe it suits his lifetime style in terms of geography, maybe it's more money, etc., etc. I don't know. I wouldn't like to speculate on that, but it's life. Again, can only wish him well.
I was going to go into the managerial thing, but we'll just go into the kind of listeners' question stuff, because obviously, as you can imagine, most of it is around that. So, as always, our questions and comments are in association with Malone Financial Services on Dublin Street in Dundalk. So the first one, mostly, as I said, management. So it was very quickly 5 or 6 of them. So Muller just said the obvious one, any rumours on a new gaffer. Keane Kennedy said, any sign of us appointing anyone? Andy Burton says, who will appoint a new manager first, Dundalk or the FAI? Stephen Cooney said, I'm going to say Dundalk on that one. But Stephen Cooney said, when all are fit, can anybody name our strongest 11? Bez McGuinness said, would you take Paddy McLaughlin as manager? And then Johnny Ward says, I think this is towards you, why is per Johnny Ward's Rovers prediction still being mentioned, even on this week's podcast, to be fair?
I think that reference to a stat of the day that it wasn't me who put it on social media.
I do apologise to Johnny for that one, actually, because I do feel that's dragging him through the thing. But again, Johnny's there for the banter. He doesn't mind it. Anyway, manager, go.
Yeah, so look, there's interest in the job.
70 applicants, apparently.
Yeah. Listen, look, it's a bit like anything. You go onto LinkedIn and you see a job and there's like 300 applicants and stuff. You get a lot of interest. Look, who would you like to see?
Barraclough.
Oh, what would you like to see?
I definitely would like Ian Barraclough. I think he knows the league. I know he's at Cheltenham and stuff as an assistant manager. He obviously has international experience. Now, whether any of this can happen and stuff, I don't know. But I'd be very much in the Barraclough camp. I think he's an exceptional League of Ireland record. Obviously with the likes of Sligo and stuff, I think he's really developed. And I don't know if he's in our budget, if he has the interest, if he's applied, etc. But obviously I know some people have put him around. So if you were to ask me, and I see Bez asking about Paddy McLaughlin, I don't know as much, and I don't think he's had as much senior management experience in the sense of him being the boss. So depends on where we want to go. But if you ask me who would I like to get it now, being Barraclough.
Yeah.
Or myself, obviously. Now, Jesus, like I'll go first, but if not, then Ian Barraclough.
Yeah, I think it needs to be someone who can. I used the word ignite earlier, but yeah, get that sort of reaction, because look, I said it already, and we can cast aspersions on the ability of these players, be it individually or collectively, but for better or for worse, whether you rate them or you don't, this is what we have to work with till at least the summer. There's another 11 matches still to go until we can add to the squad, unless you're signing free agents. So it's too much of the season to write off. Whoever's coming in needs to be able to spark them. I'm not trying to belittle Stephen O'Donnell here, but I think you made that point yourself last week that you have to coach players, and clearly there wasn't anything. At least I hope it was. It definitely wasn't 100%. As a collective unit, getting out of them, or as a group. I think that's widely acknowledged by probably everyone bar LOI Central. But the next manager has to have that sort of Damien Duff impact of getting, and it's such a cliche, but that extra 10-15% out of people. So we need that appointment needs to be the right person who can do that both short term and long term. It's not an easy task, but I do think confidence is low. People are, it's like any workplace. If you're going into work dreading it, a bit unhappy, you're not going to be as productive as if you're going in buzzing for it and looking forward to matches and looking forward to training and all that. And I know they're such cliche things, but it's true. In regarding the questions, I don't want to go into rumors because I think I have a bit of an insight and I could be very wrong on it, but and I don't want to jeopardize any processes, but I do think there is a preferred candidate. I do think it would be a brilliant appointment if it came off.
Yeah.
And I do think there's a plan B that would equally be very, very, very good. And it's very, very ambitious and would be exciting no matter what way it turns out. I do think a lot of there's been a lot of candidates, like Brian Gartle went on the record post Bowes the other night, basically saying there'd been a lot of international interest in the job, but like he said, international and European, so I presume that means beyond Europe. He said there's coaches who've coached UEFA for group stages, obviously UK, but I'm led to believe it's the club's preference to have someone in there with experience of the league. And I don't think that's a bad shout at this moment in time. There's maybe a time where you can have the luxury of trying to be a little bit different, but I don't know if that time is now. Regarding when that happened, best case scenario this week, probably not this week. Depending on which way it goes, could be end of month. But yeah, we'll probably still get there before the FAI because that was one of the questions. Regarding it, there was a question about Paddy McLaughlin. Paddy McLaughlin, from what I gather, I've never met Paddy McLaughlin, never really watched teams, but from what I gather, is a very highly respected coach. Apparently played a really nice brand of football. I'd be bluffing if I said I knew that personally, but I don't believe he's a front runner for the job. I do believe he was put forward for the job. I think that's a bit of age at work from I think it's Dave Berber's age, and I think that's more or less why that's out there. And what else was there? When all's fit, can anyone name our strongest 11? Probably not in that. Even the goalkeeper now, you're nearly guessing from week to week. But look, getting everyone fit, like even this week, and you talk about like when luck's against you, like Zach Johnson limps off early against Pats, who for me has been one of the shining lights, if not the shining light of a bad few weeks. And then Robbie Mahan, who most people were crying out for to get a run.
Yeah,
he looked lively. He looked like causing problems, etc. against Bowes, and then he gets what looked a really bad injury. I'm not sure the extent of it. I did ask Brian after the game, and he said, look, it's one of those that I know he left Ailment in a sort of protective boot, but it's one of those that are kind of fingers crossed, hoping that in a day or two it might be all right. And equally, it could be more serious. The club may not even know that. I certainly don't at this point, but little things like that don't help you. I know even like Jamie Gollan's been playing through the injury barrier in recent weeks. Dara Keane, our one signing who sort of knows the league and what it takes, is only sort of getting up and running. He's only played, I'd say he's still played less than an hour. He's come on in recent weeks and games, but we just haven't had that sort of, call it luck. I know injuries happen all the time in different squads, but we haven't been able to play something settled. Even John Mountney went off the other night against Pats. I know he was on the bench against Bohemians. I don't know whether that was selection, not risking him, a bit of both, whatever. But again, we just don't seem to be able to get that sort of flow going. But at some point, there will be a new person in, and maybe someone who's not sort of in the reckoning at the moment becomes a really key player for them. But like I think Brian, I did ask Brian on Friday night about the George Shelby decision, like, just basically saying, look, it was a big call and what was the reasoning behind it. And he said, well, to be fair, no one has done enough to say, well, I deserve to start every week and that's my position. And, and he has a point to that extent. So it's up to everyone now to, make themselves, you go back to last season, for example, and it would be unfathomable to see a team sheet that didn't have Archie Davies at right back. And I think the fact he was in the team of the year reflected that. So we need a few more like that now, where it's automatic that, you go back again, it's only last season, but you could go to Shepherd in goal, Davies at right back, Hoban up front or whatever. And it had more of a settled nature about it. Now, probably not enough positions, but this, it's at a point this year where every week the team sheet comes out, like you're nearly rushing to see what it is, because it could be anything. So I do think getting that, even in the weekend just gone, you lose Johnson, you have to substitute Mayo at halftime then on Monday, so you're mixing it up a lot in terms of your back four. But I do think, to end on a positive spin on that, again, I mentioned him, I think Bradshaw has been really good in the couple of games he played at left back. Probably not a position we've seen him playing in, but again, little things like that, just unearthing something, that's what we need to do. And we spoke to plenty of people, do you go mad? Do you throw someone like Mayo up front as a big man to cause havoc up there or something? And I know it's not one for the purists, but for example, one of the reasons why I was being so impressed by Bradshaw is his footwork for a big man, and ability to move it out of space and stuff like that is actually really good. And sometimes in adversity you could discover something about someone, and maybe that's again clutching at straws, but there's no point in equally trying what you're doing for 11 matches and hoping it goes better, and you have to try something a bit different at some point, and maybe that'll emerge.
Right, well, before we look ahead to the trip to Sligo on Friday, let's hear from our sponsors, The Unit.
Today's episode is powered by The Unit, experts in building innovative products for the betting, iGaming, and sports industries. They're the brains behind building innovative products tailored for those who love the game as much as we do. From software that powers up the betting world to platforms that enhance how we engage with our favourite sports, The Unit is leading the charge. The Unit, a winning team that reminds me of the Kenny era Dundalk in their consistency and results. Proud sponsors of the Press Box podcast. Learn more at theunit.dev.
Right, well, I know you were ironically saying that Sligo was probably one of the better teams that you've seen this year, but we have them on Friday. But they've actually lost 2 in the bounce, 3-0 against Pats and Rovers. So maybe this is their chance maybe to get a team at a low ebb and get something out of a game, because whereas you definitely see positives from the 2 games, and maybe there is, but I still see 1 point from 6 and I see relegation form. So at some stage, going up and getting a point against Sligo, I can't get excited about these things still. There's at some stage we have to go and beat somebody, and maybe Sligo's that result that they've lost their last 2. Maybe we still have a bit of a buzz. Gartland and Burns get to work a bit more time wise on them, and they can get one of these set pieces. But at some stage, a win is just needed.
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, at some point you need to rip that plaster off, and just purely because it's Sligo next, I think it's irrelevant who we're playing at this stage. We just need to produce something, or scramble something, or put it in off someone's backside or whatever. But yeah, I think given how our last Sligo prediction went, I think you need to back Sligo for the league or something this weekend, or throw a 20 quid on them at evens to beat Dundalk, and just take one for the team and let us beat them, because yeah, your prediction that they were going straight down at the minute is looking not the best. But
the irony.
Yeah, but look, maybe this is the weekend that turns it around, and maybe they go in free fall or something, and we go the other. Listen, look, Sligo are a decent side. I know they've had 2 heavy defeats, but the Showgrounds isn't an easy place to go. But look, at some point, something has to happen. Look, we can't just. We've no right to go there and say we deserve to get anything, but
Absolutely not.
it's
Yes.
it's look, if you didn't believe, and I think we lost a bit of it. That's probably why Stephen O'Donnell's not the manager. I thought we lost belief completely that we could go anywhere and win. Say what you like about the last week, and I know you're 100% right. 1 point from 6 isn't ideal or wonderful, but there were 2 tight matches. And that's at least a step in the right direction, because we were going through a bit of a stint there as well, where games weren't tight. We weren't competitive. We were being undone too easily. And at some point, if you're going to turn it around, and listen, maybe we never will, maybe this is just our level, to put the pessimistic hat on, that's fine. But if you're going to turn it around, at some point you need that sort of, right, this is where the rot stop sort of thing. And that doesn't mean you go and win the following week or whatever, but just getting that sort of, monkey off your back about the first win would be absolutely huge. And it's a long, horrible trip in terms of roads and stuff, and dark country lanes, etc., coming home from Sligo, and that's a terrible journey, I'd say, when you've just lost, and it's not that we haven't done it before, but if nothing else gives you motivation to go and get something result, have a party on the bus on the way home, lads, because you have a week till Brian was asked, like, do you need to do something like a paintballing session, or go for a few pints or whatever it is, and he said we can't do that at the minute because they've had 3 games in a week, etc. But maybe this was originally down for a Saturday fixture. It's been brought forward to Friday, which probably doesn't work in Dundalk's favour, given they played Monday and Sligo didn't. But they do have 7 days in between Friday and the following Friday against Bows. So maybe as an incentive, you say, right, lads, we get something in Sligo, we're doing X on Saturday night. And listen, it doesn't guarantee anything, but give an incentive to go and get everyone battling for everything, and look, leave nothing out there. And I don't think it's effort at this stage, to be fair. I did see effort in the 2 games at the weekend, but yeah, we just need to stop the rot sometime. So look, nothing against. I think it's irrelevant who we're playing. We just need to. It's on us at this stage. It's on us at this stage.
So speaking of camaraderie, and I suppose bringing things and people together, the club have actually announced their golf classic on the 20th of June, which is a Thursday, in Dundalk Golf Club. So it's actually to raise money for the kind of boys and girls academy teams. It'll be a brilliant thing to get people involved in. If you want to get involved, you can get on to Peter Halpin or Nada Whelan within the club. But small bits of info is that it's only 200 quid, and that's for a team of 4, and that actually includes your meal after the golf. And if any businesses want to get involved, it's only €100 for tea sponsorship, and it's €200 for a green sponsorship. But yes, I am a golf fan, so I'm probably biased to it, but I do think they're great events and stuff. And again, there's meant to be some players, and you'll know more now as well, but like players involved, previous players, managers, etc. And they can just be great days. And again, sometimes I'd be the first to hammer the club throughout the years to say they've never done things like this. So again, I think we all have to push for this, and I think if we can sell out the tea times and make a good day of it, and all fans are up in the bar afterwards having a few pints, listening to old things, it does bring kind of camaraderie back to even fans and stuff. Because I think sometimes when it's not going your way, results-wise in the pitch, maybe we don't get involved as much things. So as I said, I know you'll probably have a bit more to say about it, but for me, I think if everybody can get involved, we'll sell it out and raise money for our future players. I think it's a brilliant initiative by the club. So hopefully it all goes well for them.
Yeah, like, this is what we've been sort of crying out for to an extent, because I think look, I'm actually hands up, I'm on the committee. I was asked by my good friend PJ Dooley would I get involved, and I said, Jesus, we've banged on about this sort of stuff for long enough on this where I can't really say no. So I said, look, for whatever I can do, I'll do my bit. There's other people there probably doing a little bit more right now, but look, this isn't going to be a massive game changer financially or anything. It will hopefully raise a few quid. I think they're kind of close to a main sponsor, but what it is, look, on top of whatever it raises for the youth, and that's obviously very important. It has the potential, and God, do we need something like that now, of being a fun day out, a bit of crack, a bit of slag, a bit of camaraderie. Anyone who's played a bit of golf knows you have some great chats on a course. You get to know people a bit better. There will be, I don't want to name anyone specifically because I'll probably name someone and then they'll turn around and say they can't make that date. But there is a lot of legends of the past lined up. And there will be a prize given afterwards where I think a bit of Q&A and stuff like that. I think Brian Ainscough is already committed to playing in it as well. So a lot of people around the club, I don't know exactly about current players, but it is that sort of free week between the break, and we don't play that weekend, so maybe they can play. I think someone said to me Jamie Gullen's quite an accomplished golfer. So again, there's different things to be revealed. Maybe a raffle or two to add someone like that to your team, perhaps. But all to be determined. But yeah, it just has the potential to be a bit of fun, a bit of crack, as well as raising funds, but like put a bit of positive spin. And again, you have to start somewhere. This probably won't be a roaring success year one in terms of compared to other golf classics. I don't think it'll lose money when I say that, but you have to like make it that people want to be involved in it every year and get it an annual, and not just this, by the way, but like everything else, like poker classics, race days, whatever else. Like, get in touch with the club. To be fair, I was asked in on this, but it was fan led, this initiative, and the club are more than willing to listen to anyone, from what I can gather, with any ideas for any events or initiatives or whatever. And they're quite happy. Like, there is projects coming up. I think there is going to be work on the YDC, which is huge. Whatever it is, it doesn't necessarily have to be going into a kitty to pay wages or anything like that, but there's plenty to be done around the place. It's our club, we need to take pride of it. And just on that note, I did write it because you don't want to be hammering the first team every week, and look, you can't ignore the fact that results aren't good and the goal record is bad, etc. But and to be fair, Brian Gartland touched on it on Friday, there has been a lot of good work already done off the field in Oriel Park. Again, I think, to use Brian's words, we'd probably be shouting from the rooftops a little bit more if we were, even in mid-table or whatever. But that needs to be acknowledged. Yeah, look, you always want more, you always want bigger, better, etc. But compared to where we were, in that regard, the community stuff, like I know they're back in schools, and they're such simple things, but particularly when the chips are down and times are hard, like, it would be the easiest thing in the world for people to say, right, I'm not going to Sligo, or I'm not going to go to Oriel the following week for the Bows game because they're bottom of the table. But like, it's times like this where the team need the fans more than ever. And yeah, like, to have something that like that in the calendar, something to look forward to. And then, for what it's worth too, if you're not a golf club member, or you're just like an odd casual game or whatever, €50, which what it works out per person for a round in Dundalk Golf Club, with a meal afterwards, with the chance to rub shoulders with heroes of the past, etc. Have a bit of fun. Hopefully there's good weather. One thing you can't guarantee in Ireland. Like, it's a good day out, I think, and a lot of value for a round of golf is probably about 4.5 hours these days, 4 to 4.5 hours, unless it's very slow. So you're getting a full day out for that when you factor in. You go up to the clubhouse, then you get your dinner. You have your bit of crack. You have your presentation later that night if you want to go to it or whatever. So it's a full day out for €50 doesn't go a lot, in terms of it wouldn't buy you much these days, but lots of hours of entertainment and memories and crack for that, I think.
Absolutely. And I suppose on a fundraising initiative as well, the Tie Wrap gang are actually hosting their fundraising draw with lots of prizes, including a 4-star hotel break in Cork, a boat trip around Carlingford for 10 people, £300 Zoom teeth whitening voucher, 2 Bruce Springsteen tickets, a ladies or gents Accurus watch, and a Croke Park Museum and tour ticket. Lines are actually on sale for many of the members of the Tie Wrap gang, and they're for €5, and the draw is going to take place this Friday, actually in Burroughs of Hill Street. And yes, congratulations.
Can we tell the story? Can we, just to put a bit of, listen, we've been doom and gloom, but I think you need to tell the story, but the background to the crossbar challenge.
It just makes me sound like I'm stingy, but it's just the irony.
I'll tell it if you want.
Yeah, you fire on.
Yeah. Just on that quiz night in Burns on Friday, just before we go into this, it's unfortunate that game, the Tie Wrap gang are obviously amazing supporters of the club, and that was originally, we were due to be playing Sligo obviously on the Saturday night, and it's just unfortunate that now clashes with it, because there'll obviously be a few people who may have went to the quiz that will be in Sligo, and equally there would have been a few people who would have went to Sligo who'll be at the quiz. So that's an unfortunate one. But say Levy, the crossbar challenge. So I met you for lunch last Friday, and you were telling me that Orla Crilly was on to you looking for vouchers for Sailor Sharkies as sort of prizes for that, and you made the quip to me, should they never be claimed, and then bang and bang, Evan Fergus and Ken Daly. I nearly fell out of my seat in Oriel as the bar rattled twice, and got a good laugh out of that now, because I tell you, between
fair play to them, boys.
I tell you, you'd cure cancer if you said if you said someone was fucked. You're just unreal. But no, fair play to the guys. It was fantastic to see it hit at last, and look, again, maybe that could be a motto for the team, that you struggle for so long to get a result, and 2 come along unexpectedly. So I expect us to beat Sligo at Bows now, but no, all joking aside, it was great to see, and I was probably one of the highlights of the night on Friday.
And also, I suppose, another podcaster in Kieran Burke that we both know well. We want to wish him congratulations. He does the Between the Stripes podcast, but he actually got engaged to a local lady, Kira, this week. So congratulations to both of them. Also, before we go, I think there's a bit more of a positive update with our underage stuff. So, and all our underage stuff actually gets sponsored by Jerry McNamee Consultants. So I'll let you rattle off all the underage results, but at least it did seem to be a bit more positive this week.
Yeah. It was a few good results. So I suppose the women's under-17s probably the result of the weekend. They were 5-0 winners over Longford Town at Oriel Park on Saturday, with Hugh and Kirby scoring a double before Erin Shannon's goal left at 3-0 at the break, and then Mina McConnell added 2 further goals in the second half for Phil Cox's side. Prior to that, the men's under-15s had a 3-1 win at home to Derry City, and on Sunday the men's under-17s also had a 2-1 win away to Derry, with Keane Spate equalising early in the second half before Fad Money nabbed the winner on the hour mark. The women's under-19s also had a 1-1 draw away to Bohemians, with Misha Rooney rescuing a point for her side with an 83rd minute equaliser. There was no luck, unfortunately, for the men's under-14s, however, as they lost 2-1 away to Finn Harps, despite Josh Weldon giving them the lead in that game. This Saturday, the men's under-20s host Derry City in Oriel Park at 4 p.m, while before that, the men's under-15s are in action at home to Finn Harps at 1. There's just a 1 fixture then on Sunday, with the men's under-14s travelling to face Bows at 11.
Right. Well, again, we're going to wrap up here, but we wanted to thank again our main sponsor, the unit, as well as our associate sponsors, PlayerFit, Jerry McNamee Consultants, and Malone Financial Services. Again, I say every week, if you do watch this on YouTube, and thankfully we do see a few more people listening and subscribing each week, but if you can like and subscribe on YouTube, it'd be much appreciated. And as ever, that's sponsored by Jason and Mullins. So we will leave you there, but hopefully next week when we're chatting to you, we will have got our first league win away in the West. Talk to you then.
Look how the stars turn on.